Brilliant. Thank you. So welcome to our Zoom specifically about the stories of us lot who are now over 70. I've only just been over 70 for a week and a half. So I'm very much a newbie, but some of you have been in there a little bit longer. And yeah, so thank you to all of you for coming and choosing to participate in this and share your stories. And I've obviously only got a very brief one, but when I set up the Silver Tent for women over 50, one of the things that I really, really wanted was for women under 50 to really want to get to 50 because of the stories that we shared. And I wanted them to think, oh, I can't wait to be 50 so I can join the Silver Tent. Now, that's happened. Several people have told me that they know women in their 40s who are saying, I can't wait to get to 50. But I just think, wouldn't it be amazing for then the women who are 50 to think, wow, I'm so looking forward to being 60. And those still in their 60s, those babies, thinking, oh my God, it's going to be amazing when I get to 70. And I just love the idea that every decade actually inspires us to want to be in it. And just thinking how that might help our mental, maybe our physical health as well, and our longevity. And what amazed me was, I think it was 1 or 2 weeks before I was 70, and I just woke up one morning thinking, oh my God, 70. Like, how can I be about to be 70? It sounds so old. And the moment I finished that statement in my head, I got this extraordinary rush of excitement right through my body, completely unbidden. And I thought, oh, that's really weird. Like, where did that come from? My conscious, rational mind is saying, you're getting old, Francesca. But my body was saying, wow, we're going to be 70. And I can still feel the excitement about being in this decade. So I know some really amazing things in a positive way are going to occur around me. And because so many of you sent me messages saying, welcome to the best decade so far, I thought it would just, I love the thumbs up, Renette. I just thought it would be great to share some of your stories about why being in your 70s is so brilliant and why many, well, let's say all women who are younger may actually look forward to being in their 70s. So who would love to share a story about why are the 70s so brilliant? It just sounds completely bonkers just saying it, but still. Who am I looking for? Sally. Sally. Thank you, Sally.
Yay. Thank you, Franny. When you were describing that just now, it brought, I had no idea what I was going to say when I came here, but actually what it brought back to me was a memory when I was actually 63, which is 10 years ago, because I'm about to be 73 in November. I had one of those moments, just like you, of thinking, oh my God, I'm getting old. And then immediately I got this reaction from somewhere that said, hang on a minute, I'm 63. My oldest daughter will be 33. So when she is 63, I will be 93. And that's no problem. And I thought to myself, and if I don't get it all done now in this lifetime, I'll do it in the next. So why am I worried? And I'm very blessed because I had the most fantastic role model in my father, who lived to 97. He was widowed at 80, and he just blossomed. And I think that it was that sense of there is fun to be had. There is, it is what you make of it. And I feel utterly, utterly blessed. Even though we're going through some interesting times at the moment, I just feel, yeah, we're right there. It's fine. It's great.
Wow. And what's so clear, thank you so much for sharing that, Sally, is the zest that you have for life.
Yeah.
And actually, when I look at everybody here, there is that zest.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that it's there, 100% of the time,
No way.
but that that we can call it through, that we can have that, and how beautiful. That's really lovely. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much, Sally.
Thank you.
Who else would like to share? Yeah, brilliant, Joy.
Right. Hi, yes. I'm 77 and a half. When I was, so let's think, at 69 and a half years ago, when I was 8 years old, I decided, well, actually, somebody told me that if you live to be 100, you get a telegram from the Queen. So I decided then at age 8 that I was going to get a telegram from the Queen on my 100th birthday. So obviously I've still got another 23 years minimum left to go before I get my telegram from the Queen, whether it's Queen Catherine or Queen Camilla or Queen somebody else that we've never heard of. I'll let you know. So that's the first story. I've got a couple more. Can I carry on?
Yes, please.
Yeah? Okay. Well, the next story was that when I got to my 70th birthday, I decided that I wanted to see Barcelona. Now, I hate flying. I've flown to America a couple of times because my first husband's family lived there. But I hate flying, and I really didn't want to, but I knew that if I wanted to see Barcelona, I would have to fly. But the problem was my husband didn't want to come with me. He's not slightly interested in seeing Spain or any other place. So I sort of went round all my family and saying, oh, I want to go to Barcelona. Would somebody like to come with me? And in the end, my daughter-in-law, who is Japanese and who is Formula One racing mad, said, well, I'll be going in February to the to Barcelona to the race practice or something. Would you like to come with me? I sort of leapt about, yeah, I'd love to come with you. So because she was going anyway, she did all the organizing. She got all the accommodation. She booked the flight. She did literally everything. All I had to do was just give her some money. And she took me to Barcelona and I had a fabulous time. The reason that I wanted to go was to see, basically to see the Gaudi architecture. And we saw 4 different places. We saw Casa Batlló, we saw Park Güell, we saw another casa I can't remember, and we saw obviously the familiar Raja or whatever it's called, the fantastic cathedral, and it was wonderful. I really, really loved it. The timing was a bit odd because we actually, as we were preparing to leave Spain, there was talk of a lockdown. And Spain was one of the very first places, I think, that put a total lockdown in. And we flew out on the Saturday at the end of February, and a week later, had we been a week later, we'd have been stuck there for God knows how long, months and months and months. But so it was a trip of a lifetime at exactly the right time. And thank you very much to my daughter-in-law, who is 49 years old this year. So you might see her next year, possibly. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. And my third story is about our house. It became, we realized that we needed to move house in order to be near to our youngest son, because he and his partner, who you'll probably know Freya, our granddaughter, she was about to start school, and our son and daughter-in-law needed some sort of logistical support because they were both care workers and they were both working full time. So we decided to move. We were in Andover, they were in Trowbridge. So we decided to move to Trowbridge. And we needed, because my husband snores, we needed to have sufficient bedrooms that I could sleep as far away from him as possible. And we both mentioned that we'd quite like to live in a 3-story house. And neither of us had said anything before. I didn't know that he'd like to live in a 3-story house. He didn't know that I would like to live in a 3-story house. Bearing in mind, he's 70 and I'm 72. we bought a 3-story house, and I sleep on the top floor and he sleeps in the middle floor, and he can snore as much as he likes because I can't hear a thing. So there we are, and this is our forever home. So as long as I can climb the stairs, I can get to bed. I think that's it. That's my story. Well, those are my stories.
That's beautiful. And so you recommend the 70s, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, don't let anybody tell you that you can't do this and you can't do that, because you damn well can if you decide you want to.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Thank you so much, Joy. Thank you. Who else has something that they love to share about why? Yeah, Susie Joy.
Well, yeah, thank you. I really related to this topic because when I was 69, I was dreading being 70. I don't know why, but just like all year, it was sort of, I don't want to be 70. I kind of, what happened to my life? And something shifted in me as soon as I was 70. I did do a little kind of ceremony. I'm very much into ceremonies and rituals. But suddenly life seemed much more easier. And I think it's because I was never comfortable in my own skin. I had years of chronic disability and post-traumatic stress. And suddenly it's like, why on earth are you worried about what other people think? And I love colour, and I've become more and more outrageous with colour. But people come over and chat to me and say, I love your colours. And I've actually have a YouTube channel where I post positive shorts to remind people of the magic of life. And I'm building a following of often younger people. I've heard from some older people that they think younger people aren't interested in them. But I'm finding people who go, oh, you've got so much to share. And I really love, you don't remind me of someone in my life who's in their 70s, because you've got this zest for living. And what it does for me, it gives me a focus on what I find magical and what I find joyful. And even my name, which came when I was recording songs, is kind of reminding me that life is here to be celebrated at whatever age. But the great thing about being 70, we've got all this experience of life. We know a lot. Well, for me, I know about how not to do things. I majored in that really effectively. So now I'm discovering, how much more fun it is if I show up. This is my first panel I've been on. So it's another kind of, I'll just show up for life and see what emerges. So, I'm 72 now, going on 6, and just feeling like I'm freer in myself than I've ever been. And that is great. And I think, other people are saying, you encourage me to be more authentic. So I guess my message to anyone watching would be, are you still following a rule book? We were brought up with so many shoulds and, ideas of how we should be in the world. And, really for me, I just want to choose to be in the moment much more. And I suppose my number one superpower, that's the buzzword, isn't it? Is just gratitude, just noticing all the things to be grateful for. So that's my contribution. Thank you very much.
Oh, Susie Joy, I just absolutely love it. And, when you say about suddenly feeling more free in yourself, that's exactly, I hadn't realized until you said it, that I definitely feel that about myself too. And something else that I've experienced, I wonder who else has got this, is I've suddenly become far more opinionated or allowing myself to say, I don't agree with that. No, this is what I think, and just have that much more oomphy quality. I don't care quite so much. And so that's lovely. And thank you so much, Susie Joy, for sharing. It's just great. And yeah, I love all your colours as well. So thank you. Who else would love to share something that inspires them about being in their 70s? Yeah, Ali. You're on
I forgot about the mute button. Sorry. Yes. I don't know that I was looking forward to being 70 because my sister died quite young, and my mum died at 72. So I know I have longevity on my dad's side of the family, but it's just like, I'm kind of winding down and I'm kind of done. And I kept saying that to people. It's like, I'm ready to go home. And they're like, no, that's not on the cards for you at the moment. Everybody else seemed to think that I was going to stay longer, but there you go. And the big thing for me when I was going to be 70, my family and friends got together and organized a lovely dinner for me. And they spoiled me rotten. And it was the first time in my life that I'd allowed people to celebrate me and for me to celebrate my own self. It was the first time I accepted, and I was only 69 because I only turned 70 the next day. But there was that huge shift on that day. And then a little bit into my year of being 70, which started in March this year, I went into a quiet meditation in a circle, and we were told to go and find all the bits of us that are missing and take our broken bits, our abandoned bits, our sheared off bits, our traumatized bits, take it into the center of the forest, and we would meet our higher self and we could perhaps integrate. And I just thought, well, never mind. You see, I'm from Africa. We don't worry about rules and regulations. That's for other people. So I just stormed straight into the center of the forest. If I was going to meet my higher self, I wasn't waiting. I wasn't going to get a basket full of stuff to take with me. And as I walked into the clearing, and I'm getting goosebumps now as I'm saying it, I saw me, fully me, being fully me. I am my true self. I am my higher self. There are no bits of me that are missing and need to be mended. And I'll put this on the side. Obviously, I'm going to meet shadow stuff that I have to deal with, and that's fine. But there's none of me is missing. I am that radiant being who everybody else said they could see beforehand, but I'd never allowed myself to see myself as a radiant being. And so it's been much more of a spiritual shift rather than anything going out and climbing Mount Kilimanjaro or anything like that, which is not on the cards. Trust me, I'm not interested. But yeah, a massive change, and it's allowed me to find my voice, find my confidence, and go out and do what I've always wanted to do, and felt that, what if somebody said X, Y, or Z about it? And it's like, that's your problem, not mine anymore. And so there is my story. Thank you very much.
Just wonderful, Ali.
Yeah.
Just wonderful. And it's been such a privilege to watch that shift happen as well. And you know, that sense of getting that understanding as you turned 50, no, 70, which one are we doing? Is I get that too. There was a kind of coming of age feeling.
Yeah.
Which I don't remember really getting at 18 or 21, but at 70. And I don't know whether that's that I'm just a late bloomer, which I'm sure that I am, whatever that actually means. But yeah, really interesting. Brilliant. And Grace, thank you. And I was just thinking, I'm not sure you should be in this call because you don't look over 70.
Oh, I do.
You're on mute.
Between the candles and the creased looks, I am definitely 70. Thank you.
Oh, so Grace, over to you.
Right. So this is really interesting. When I was 69, coming up to that age, and people were saying to me, well, are you going to retire? Or when are you going to retire? And I'd been working as a psychotherapist and a coach, mainly in my own room, seeing people. People would mostly come to me. And the room had become like a bit of a worm. I was quite happy there. And I hadn't really thought about retiring at all, but I thought, well, Jesus, I can't spend my whole life in this room. I should get out more, you know. And so I did start to think, I will take myself out more. And I noticed that there was a networking meeting going on with a view to starting a group in Plymouth, where I live, um, for women. And I thought, I'd rather stick pins in my eyes, I thought. But anyway, I said, no, get a grip and change your attitude, Grace, and get out and mingle with folk. So I did. And you know, it was horrific. I went with Patricia Cherry, and it was packed. It was a great turnout, loads of people, and there was a presentation. But just to cut the long story short, they all finished up talking about, oh, but what about the youth? What are we doing for the youth? And what about the children? And this, that, and the other. And I was thinking, if this was a bunch of men, they'd all be talking about how they promoted themselves and how did they get on. And they did, look, this bunch of women did everything but get out the knitting, honestly. And I thought, wow, this is definitely not for me. Um, so actually, I was quite wound up leaving and thinking, um, you know, I'd heard a lot of women complain about men having all the power and the opportunities and what have you. And I thought, you know, you just do it to yourself. And remember saying to Trish, what the women in this city need is a place to get together, to have generative conversations and la 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 la. And and I waited for somebody to come along and do that. And nobody came along. And so by the time I was getting to 70, like really getting up closer to 70, just out of another conversation, I thought, I'll do it. Nobody's coming. It's down to you, Grace. So actually, I organized this thing, and it was a foot in the same place, and it was almost a year to the day from the previous meeting, and it was full, and 30 people signed up for the whole year, for a whole year, and paid up front. And you know, it was great. And we had really interesting 3 hour meetings once a month, and it was really good. So then that evolved, that took me into 70. And then it kind of evolved for a few years. It was that, and then we moved because the room was only big enough, only insured for 50, and it got bigger. So we moved to different venues. I won't bore you with all the detail. And we became Western Women Mean Business on the basis of what the Dalai Lama said, the world would be changed by Western women. And I was thinking, well, it's time Western women got their act together, that kind of thing. And like, what we're going to do about it. And then it morphed into evolutionary women, looking at some kind of actually dynamic in it, that we would evolve. And then COVID came, and we kept going online for a couple of years, um, and then I got ill actually. So that kind of takes me up to where I am now, 79. I was 79 a couple of weeks ago. So I'm looking at 80 coming up next year. And so I've had the similar kind of things going on in my head. And we've downsized, moved house. We've been surrounded by builders. It's been wild here. But I love to write. I absolutely love to write. And that group that I had, and I'm still in touch with a lot of those women, and they were mostly in their 40s and 50s, younger than I was and am. But I noticed that they were all talking about the menopause like it was a life-threatening illness, and it was all doom and gloom, and like it just went on. And if you remember, I wrote about the regenopause because I was a great fan of Barbara Marx Hubbard, who spoke about the regenopause as a stage in life where we regenerate. And instead of, there's life after the menopause, there's the regenopause. So I thought she was going to write a book about it, and then she died, Barbara. And I just assumed some enterprising person would finish the book or write the book or do something. And I waited for a few years again that somebody's going to do that. And then it was, will you do it, Grace? So I've done it. As you might have seen, I posted a thing in the group about it. Because I do think it is, it's a whole new chapter, and it is what you want it to be. And for me, I decided this going forward is a time to shift out of linear thinking, out of Newtonian Cartesian ways of viewing the world, into quantum living and quantum thinking, so everything can be happening now. So like, I have about 10 different projects going. And I think this is where my neurodivergence comes into play, because I think the New Zealand word for someone who is attention deficit disorder is someone who can think of many things at the same time. And so I can't. So I am writing like fury, and the AI conversations. I think, frankly, anybody who does not use each to their own, but I think it is so useful. I'm not stupid. I'm aware of all the possibilities that can go wrong and the ways that people can get, you kind of take due diligence. But all the stuff on my hard drive that I've been writing for years and years that never got out because I'd get caught up on the next idea and the next idea and the next idea. Well, there's a whole raft of stuff that the AI has allowed me to pull together to salvage, really, and structure in a way that it would have taken me forever to do. And so I think 80 next year, I have legacy stuff to get out. And I am so enjoying it. And I'm so delighted that it's not all going to go to waste. So like I am fizzing going into 80. I'm just, and I keep thinking, oh God, I hope I live long enough to do all this. So I'm loving it. I'm loving it. So that's me.
Grace, I just love this sense of you fizzing into 80. Like that's just such a great sentence and a great feeling. And I have a feeling that you and I are going to kick off the conversations around us elders playing with such advanced technology.
Yeah.
But that's obviously a different conversation. But yeah, I absolutely love what you're saying, and just makes me laugh when you talk about waiting for someone else to do it, whatever it is, and then realizing that it's you. So that's brilliant. Thank you for sharing that. Really excellent. And Susie Clark, are you waving at me to speak? Oh, good. Yes, over to you, Susie Clark.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Well, I mean, I'm just blown away by all the stories that you've told so far, and each one of you who's spoken, I thought, yes, I felt like that, or no, actually, I felt the opposite. So I really resonated with all the stories that you've shared, and I really never put much store by the birthdays that end with a 0. It's never really, because I've always just been so busy doing stuff. And I guess that started when I lost my husband when we were in our early 40s, and I took over raising up 3 girls and then became carer to my parents and working full time in the middle of it all, doing a university degree when I was in my 40s as well, fighting a lot of corporate battles to try and win better deals for women, myself included. So always, always flying the flag for something, you know. And I'm an only child. So when Susan Furness suggested to me in 2019 that I have a look at the Silver Tent, I felt as if I'd found a group of sisters that perhaps I never had. And it really welcomed me. And having jumped into that, so in 2019, I was 67, struggling to find work again because I'd taken time off to care for my father. All of those things, you know, difficult, just trying to writing my first book, all of that good stuff. And with a companion that I'd met on the internet that I was getting on with rather well. For those of you who've read my first book, Butterflies and Baked Beans, he's the hungry Hungarian. And without wishing to give a spoiler, unfortunately, we discovered he had cancer a year later. So we didn't have that much time together. And then in the middle of all of this, coping with all of that, of course, we went into lockdown. That was in 2020. So the year after I joined the Silver Tent. Again, the Silver Tent never stopped giving. And I met somebody called Renate van Nijen, who's a Dutch artist living in Spain. She needed some books edited, and I thought, well, I'm stuck at home. We had to close the doors on our company. I'm a director of an events company called Kit and Caboodle, based in London. We lost all our business within a week of going into lockdown. And my daughter and I had to take out a loan of almost £200,000 to cover the expenses that came out of losing our business through no fault of our own. Next May, we will have paid it off to HSBC a month at a time. And last year we won Creative Agency of the Year, even though there's only 10 of us. So it's been a struggle all the way through. And it's so busy climbing mountains that I don't look at the next peaks, really. So I never thought about being 70. But when we went into lockdown, it forced me to sit and think. Well, I did a lot of walking and thinking, which is something I don't do enough of. And the more I thought about it, the more I thought, well, gosh, am I really going to get to 70? And I had a deep suspicion, which I think Ali has as well, that I wouldn't make it to 70. I don't know why, but when you lose somebody very young in life, you sort of don't take any year for granted. You think, oh gosh, and in a way you're a bit scared because you think, when my daughter hit 42, I thought, well, that's the age I was when your father died. So you kind of have a calendar ticking in the back of your head, but you try not to let it dominate what you do. And so in 2020, went into lockdown, and having met Renata online, edited her book, she said she couldn't afford to pay me. So I said, give me an art lesson. She said, well, I've never given an art lesson online. I said, well, it's a long way to La Herradura. You're going to have to try. And so she offered me an art lesson. And now she does regular art lessons for people in the Silver Tent and outside. And 5 years on, I've exhibited 18 paintings in Watford in a cafe. I've got 8 paintings up in the restaurant in St Albans. I don't sell much work because my work is a bit odd. And to be perfectly honest, I get quite angry about ladies, particularly from Islamic cultures, who are made to cover their faces. So I do tend, because I grew up in Africa, so I do tend to paint ladies with their faces covered with very angry eyes, which nobody really wants on their living room wall while they're trying to watch blue lights on TV. You know, it's my painting isn't comfortable to live with. Generally speaking, I've had people say to me, please paint landscapes, Susie, we'd buy your landscapes. And then, of course, I think like Grace, you know, I wanted to write a book, and then I wrote Butterflies and Baked Beans, and then with lots of cheering on from the sidelines in the Silver Tent and Synergy, I said, I've been invited to the Women's Institute to be a speaker, and you were all like, yes, go for it. And I had nothing else to do. So we'd come out of lockdown, and I picked up my guitar, despite my arthritis. And I thought, well, they're so old. If I lock the doors, they won't be able to get away. And sure enough, the first meeting that I went to with the WI, I got up to speak. I was the last speaker, and all the ladies got up, all the secretaries who book speakers, they all got up and put on their hats and their coats. And I said from the stage, where do you think you're going? And they all said, oh, it's been a long day, love. we've heard 4 people. I fell asleep in front of them, but the speaker in front of me did a relaxation thing and I fell asleep. So, I mean, I didn't blame them. I said, but I've come all the way from St. Albans. They were like, yes, we know, but we haven't had any lunch yet. So I said, right. I said, well, you can go. But I said, you're not going to hear about sex and the internet. I said, but feel free. Off you go. And they sat down like one man. Boom. All of them, they all sat down. And by the time I finished speaking, I already had 4 bookings. So what I found was I got the confidence from the silver tent and the synergy. And then I started to enjoy myself. And now I'm invited to Rotary. I'm invited to University of the Third Age. I had 150 people waiting for me at Hertford the other day. I do play my guitar. That's generally so I can check my words because I tend to forget lyrics and so forth. So, and the number of women over 50 who come up to me and say, oh, I'm going to write that book I was going to write. Oh, how do I get in touch with the Silver Tent? Is it expensive? Oh, you know, oh my goodness, you lead such an adventurous life. Because let's be honest, I've got 3 daughters who are all entrepreneurs in their own right. And one of them's currently sailing the South Pacific. I went out to see her in Fiji, her and the kids and her husband. And I'm going to New Zealand in 4 weeks, 5 weeks time, because that's the only way I get to see my grandchildren. So I guess my life looks very glamorous. Francesca said to me earlier today, I love your life because after this, I'm going to go to the Royal Academy, but I'm going to have my guitar strapped on my back because after the Royal Academy, because I'm going to go and see this black artist who uses 4 shades of black to paint black people. And Renata has said to me, you should never use black in a painting. And I said, well, I'm going to go and see because he's a best-selling artist. So obviously some people like black in a painting. So I'm going to go and take notes. So I'm going to the Royal Academy when I finish here. And then I'm carrying my guitar on my back down Piccadilly to 4 Seasons Hotel. It's a very posh hotel in Mayfair, where I'm singing for the Bahrain ambassador. And the reason that I'm doing that is because years ago I wrote a musical about Bahrain, they televised it, and then I got back here and nobody was interested. And now they're desperate for somebody to perform between the main course and coffee. So like an idiot, I put my hand up and now I'm really nervous because there's 120 very rich business people, but I'm hoping to sell them the idea of something that my company builds every year in King's Cross, which are club curling lanes. And if you can, in your head, imagine a load of guys dressed like Arabian sheikhs, pushing curling lanes, pushing curling, whatever they're called, balls or on synthetic ice in Dubai or Bahrain, that's where I'd like you all to say a prayer for me, because that would help get my company out of the big trouble it's in, because at the moment, we don't have enough money to get through the new year. So that's me. And yes, I'm 73 now. I don't know where the years have gone, but 5 years after lockdown, and I guess how many years after I joined Silver Tent? 2019, so getting on. I love it. I love all the opportunity that the Silver Tent brings. I love the friendships that I have found through being part of this community. I love the sisters that I've met, and I'm always meeting new sisters, and I wish I could meet you all face to face more often. But if any of you come anywhere near St. Albans, I'll never speak to you again if you don't look me up on my day off. And that's my story.
Oh, Susie, like if, to anybody who's watching, if you've not had the chance of being at an event where Susie Clark is talking, just make sure you do, honestly. And then take enough hankies with you, or tissues or whatever they're called, because you will be crying with laughter. Honestly, you're just an absolute gem. Absolute gem.
Well, people do cry, but it's not always with laughter. I mean, it's just that they do cry.
You're going to be phenomenal tonight.
Gosh, I hope so.
You are. You're going to have an absolute ball, and please let us know about it tomorrow. And you're going to do a little something. But we'll hear from Catherine first, and then we'll come back to you, Susie, for you and
sure.
Your little special.
Don't worry. My taxi's not booked till 2:15, just so you know.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you. Yes, Catherine.
Right. Well, I won't talk for half an hour. Gosh, listening to everybody, I am 71 and a half, and I have quite a sort of family legacy to live up to. My mother reached 98 and a half. Now, unfortunately, the last 3-4 years were not that pleasant because she did sink into dementia and lost a lot of physical abilities. But when she was a mere youngster at 20 during the Second World War and she wanted to become a nurse, everybody looked at her because she was slight and had suffered sort of illnesses in her childhood, saying, "Oh, you'll never survive, you'll never survive." Well, she did. She worked in a hospital in Ramsgate, so in Hellfire Corner, for most of the war. And she lived to 98. She was married 3 times. And it makes you think that she was widowed for the last time in her late 60s. So she had 30 years of her life completely on her own, and I look back and think what she did. Now, what on earth have I done? I can't say I've done an awful lot in the last year and a half, but since I was 50, I moved myself back to my homeland in New Zealand. I built a house, lost lots of money, created amazing artwork. Coming back to England, I met the right person who got me onto teaching and giving talks all around the country and at big textile shows. And I sort of, when I was coming up to 70, and I was thinking, oh God, what is there? But then I'd see a news item or read something, oh, this person, this older person who's 69 or 75, and actually in their 60s, they treat them and they write about them as though they're ancient. And I'm thinking, I'm older than them. I don't feel like that. I don't feel 70. What the hell is 70? And I still feel like that. And like Susie Joy, I love colour and I play with colour and I wear colour and I create with colour. So I wear things that much younger women, I didn't actually wear when I was in my 30s. And I get stopped by young people, men of different ages saying, wow, gosh, that looks gorgeous. That's fantastic. I've allowed my hair to grow longer. I keep it blonde. So most people, when I'm in a group, and they're talking about something or whatever, and I say, oh, how old are you? And they say, oh, I'm 53 or whatever. And I say, okay. And then I say, well, what do you think I am? And they go, oh, I don't know, 59, 62. And when I give my age, they sort of go, oh, are you? So I think I've most probably reached a point where I honestly don't give a damn what other people think now. And I just do what I want to do, and I will wear whatever I want to wear. I'm not going to be walking around in ultra mini skirts. I did that when I was a teenager. I don't need to do it now, but I will wear things that I feel comfortable and I enjoy, and I will do things that I enjoy. And yeah, I will keep going for as long as I can.
Fantastic. And you're just so wonderfully stylish.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I know. Lots of people do say, and I remember years ago, actually, when I was in my 40s, and I would wear coordinated outfits, and a couple of my friends have said, oh, she's always coordinated. I mean, there are days when I put on a complete mess and I think, well, what mood am I in today that I'm a complete mess? But when I go out, I'll put on something. And I go to a place in Harrogate where they sell fabrics. It's a charity place. And the chap who sort of runs it, every time I walk in, he says, oh, it's that coat again. It's wonderful, and it's that, what are you doing now? And what are you working on? And I think that's lovely.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you so much, Catherine. Really lovely. And Jeanette.
Thank you. I love all this chat about how amazing we all are experiencing our lives now that we are septuagenarians and older. I'm not sure if somebody's over 80 already here in our group, but I think there were some who indicated they wanted to join us. I decided when I turned 60 that, and I thought, oh, I'm getting old. I decided just there and then that from now onwards, I will double my intended age or anticipated age. And therefore I'm always halfway through my life. So I'm 76 now, and it really works. And what I've proved to myself certainly is that age is in your head. How you are feeling and how you are responding is literally depending on what's going on in the world behind your eyes. And I can test that because I have somebody near, one of my neighbors here where I live in Cape Town in South Africa, and she was shocked to discover I'm only 2 years younger than she is. And I was shocked to discover that she's only 2 years older than me because she looks ancient. So it really, for me, is about what's going on in your head, and then to not buy into what the world is telling you. Because I have somebody, family member, not one side of the family, and she keeps saying to me, Renette, you must live according to your age. And I'm going, what is according to my age? Who determines what I must look like at 76? Or she started saying that a few years ago already. So now that Johan, my husband, passed away 5 months ago, and he had Parkinson's disease and became very demented towards the end, I'm suddenly free. And it's quite amazing to realize that I can finally do all the many countless things I plan on doing and wanted to do. I wrote my first book in the 3 weeks before I turned 70, Sparkle Your Life by Design, Not Default, because I thought I might die when I turned 70, because I think somebody else here said her maternal side of the family didn't live very long, and my mother and her side of the family didn't live long, but then my father's side did. And in the end, I just decided it doesn't matter. I'm just always halfway through my life. So that's really basically the bottom line of what I want to share, is that we are as old as we think we are, and we have to be alert to what the world is trying to tell us about being old, because the world has a certain paradigm, and one of them is that as you get old, you've got to get sick, and then you die from being sick. That's kind of the progression, and I refuse to believe that or to subscribe to that. And I encourage everybody to also really question that, because it doesn't have to be true at all. And there was one other thing I wanted. The other very important thing, Johan and I, when we thought that he would not live through till Christmas of 2023, did an exercise where we both owned our own death. So we both just made it real and personal, that every single human being on earth is going to die. Their body is going to die. It's our only certainty. And we took about 3 months of crying, laughing, talking, reminiscing, and just making it a reality that this body will die. And since doing that, it deepened our love for each other. It freed us to live. And it doesn't matter when I die, and I can just keep being halfway through my life. Thank you for this, bringing us all together, Francesca, and for this inspiring conversation we're all having here.
It's just wonderful. Thank you so much, Renette. And I love the fact that we've had just so many different perspectives and stories and ideas. It's just really, really remarkable. Yeah. I think, because I used to think 70 was old, and now that I am, it's like, oh, actually it can't be, because I just don't think I've even got to 20 yet, you know. And it's brilliant. So thank you.
You're welcome. We had a role model, Johan and I, Professor Zakrzewski, who started his own international consulting company for factories for ecological waste disposal of their factory waste when he was 81, and he started with his own money. So Johan and I had always said, definitely we want to be as forward thinking, as alive, as continuing to live fully as he was. Now, with Parkinson's, that didn't happen for Johan, but I'm giving it a go. And I'm going way beyond 81.
Yes, good.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Jessica, have we got time for Susie and I to lead you in?
Oh, of course. Well, as long as Susie, the other Susie, said that her taxi is booked for
2:15. So we're good.
So I'm going to hand over to you two now.
Susie Joy hasn't had time to say her bit. Oh yes, you have had time. Has everybody had a chance then? We're not taking anybody's time. Is that all right?
You're fine, you're fine. Unless Steffi wanted to join in, but no, he'd have said.
Can anybody hear that? This is my mini travel guitar, which I'm going to have strapped to my back to walk down Piccadilly, by the way.
Actually,
if I put a hat down, I might get some money, but don't think I'm going to pay you, Francesca. That's it.
Susie, just before you start, for anybody that hasn't actually heard more than one person sing or play music on a Zoom, it is a horror because the microphones can't work together. So it's going to sound really odd, and that's part of the fun. They know it's going to sound odd.
Yeah, if we need an agent, Susie Joy, we know who not to ask, don't we? Here we go. So when I found out that Susie Joy was a singer as well and musician, and I write a few songs and sing. So we thought it was going to be really confusing with two Susies on this call. And so we thought we'd write you a little song. Are we ready, Joy? Susie Joy? There's two ladies known as Susie in the tent. They're never boozy. They love to sing and have some fun. So here's a song for everyone. If you knew Susie like I know Susie. Oh, what a gal. There's none so sassy as this fair lassie. Oh, holy Moses, what a chassis. Silver to the place where we met. And thanks to Granny, play the music, we're all set. So here's to Susie, a pair of floozies. Oh, what a
God.
Just brilliant, just brilliant. Oh, I love you guys. Thank you so very much.
Love you too.
The most perfect moment to complete the conversation. Thank you to all of you. Absolutely wonderful. And I will be putting up this recording soon. And if you want to share it to your own profiles, I'd be so happy. I'll tag you all in it, and lots of love. And good luck tonight, Susie Clark.
Thank you. Thank you.
Lots of love, everybody. Bye.
Love everyone. Bye.